All right, so continuing with lesson 7, we're on page number 51, exercise number 4, and this has to do with wrong payment question mark. So Derek cuts grass, does lawn work, that kind of stuff. In the winter, he shovels snow. He charges $12 an hour. What a deal. This evening, Derek received a check from Mrs. Grimes. He worked 9.5 hours on Saturday and 5.5 hours on Sunday. Okay, so he put in a lot of work for this lady. How can Derek see if he received the correct amount of money for his work? So she paid him $160. Well, how would he find out? Well, first of all, he would have to find out how many total hours he worked, 9.5 and 5.5, add those together, multiply that time then times how much he charges an hour. So just to write that out, it would be 9.5 plus 5.5. He'd get an amount there, and then he'd multiply it by 12.5. And that would tell him whether or not this amount is correct or not. So that's what we're looking at for 1, 2, and 3. And obviously, number 3, how much more money should Mrs. Grimes have paid Derek? Obviously, she ripped him off. So find out by how much. Okay, so that is page number 51? Yes, wrong payment. Okay, so now we're going to exercise number 5. And the top of exercise number 5 is a continuation of the little discussion about Mrs. Grimes ripping him off some money. Okay, so exercise 5, cost of supplies. So Vincent and his wife Loretta, where do they get these names? They have a family painting business. So Vincent supervises the painting crews, and his lovely wife Loretta orders supplies and does the billing. So she's looking at the prices of painting supplies at 2 large stores, Hardware Home and King Paint and Hardware. She wants to determine which store has the best prices. To do that, she needs to find the unit price of each item. A unit price means how much is it for one? Because like down here, at Hardware Home, paintbrushes are 3 for $9.99. Well, she needs to find the unit price because, see, these are 3 for $9.99. These are 4 for $14.56. So which one is the better deal? Kind of hard to tell unless you find out how much each paintbrush is, and then you can figure that out. So 3 for $9.99. So you would take $9.99 and divide it by 3. And that would tell you how much each brush is. And in this case, using our handy dandy highlighter, each paintbrush is $3.33. Over here we do the same thing. 4 goes into $14.56. We find out that each brush is $3.64. The best price then is Hardware Home. And they're asking you to do that then for each of the problems there below what I've highlighted in yellow. All right. And then you can continue on there. How much will it cost Vincent and Loretta to purchase 4 packages of paintbrushes from Hardware Home? So they're getting 4 packages of these paintbrushes. How much is it going to cost them? All right. So that is page number 52. Let's jump to page number 53. And we've got a couple more questions about King Paint and Hardware. They have a sale on paint rollers. If you buy 5 packages of rollers, the unit price is $1.99. So if you buy 5 packages of rollers, you're paying $1.99 each. How much would 30 paint rollers cost at King Paint? Well, you could multiply 30 times $1.99, and that would tell you how much 30 rollers would cost. How much would 30 paint rollers cost at Hardware Home? Well, you'd have to look back and see what the price was on the previous page, on page number 53. And so look at those. Jumps us down to the cost of cookies for exercise number 6 on page 53. Latasha works at Main Street Bakery. Cookies are very popular, especially the oatmeal cookies. Latasha is helping a customer decide what kinds of cookies to buy, because that's really a hard decision to make, and how many. The customer wants a variety of cookies. So, one of the things to remember, 1 dozen cookies is 12. So you've got oatmeal, oatmeal and raisin, oatmeal with raisins, nuts, and chocolate chips. Well, to me, there is no decision. You're only going to buy these. At least that's from my perspective, because I like oatmeal, raisins, nuts, and chocolate chips. Okay. Customer wants to know how many cookies he will get if he buys 2 dozen of each kind of cookie. Okay, a whole bunch. What are the 2 operations Latasha needs to do in order to answer for the customer? So customer wants 2 dozen of each kind of cookie. So she wants 2 dozen oatmeal, 2 dozen oatmeal with raisins, 2 dozen oatmeal, raisins, nuts, and chocolate chips. Okay, so she's asking for 2 for 6 dozen cookies. It's not my pen. 6 dozen cookies. And they're asking for what are the 2 operations Latasha needs to do to get an answer for the customer. So you pick out how you got the 6 dozen cookies there. Did you add, did you subtract, or did you multiply, divide, or in this case, you did 2 different operations. Okay, so number 2, and then I'll skip to exercise 7. Customer has 22 guests. He wants to know the number of cookies for each guest if he buys 2 dozen of each kind. Okay, so he's buying 2 dozen of each kind. So again, we're back up here to 6 dozen. 22 guests coming. How many cookies will each guest get if we get 6 dozen? So we have to find out how many cookies there are in 6 dozen, and then find out how many cookies each guest will get. So you're going to have to do some figuring here to know which of the multiple choice there to give. All right, so let's get rid of that and move into exercise number 7. And top of page 54 are some more questions there about the whole cookie thing with Latasha. So exercise number 7 includes 1, 2, and 3. So Keisha works for a bicycle shop. Part of her job is to purchase uniforms for the employees. She needs to finish completing the order form. 4 employees ordered white t-shirts, and she decides to order an apron for all 6 employees, because aprons are like really cool if you're working on bikes. Complete the quantity and total cost columns in the order form. Well, let's make this a little bit bigger. So what's she doing? We're filling in these blanks here. So if the blue t-shirts are $8.95 and we get 2 of them, what is the total cost? If we have white t-shirts, how many are we getting? 4 employees ordered white t-shirts. And how much is that going to cost? And the same with the black hats, and the same with the aprons. Okay. So Keisha will get a $10 discount if her total order exceeds $200. Approximately how much additional money would she have to spend on each of the 6 employees? So obviously the amount she spent up here is not $200. So she has to spend some additional money on each of the 6 employees. So we're not talking about how much more money she has to spend. We're asking how much more she has to spend on each of the 6 employees. So let's say that the amount that she spent was $182. She has to spend $200 to get the discount. Okay? So she's $18 short of getting the discount. That's how much short she has. How much would she have to spend on each of the 6 employees to be able to spend another $18? Well, she'd have to spend 18 divided by 6 employees. She'd have to spend another $3 each. Okay, so that's a key part of answering these questions, is make sure you know what the question is asking for. Most people are going to stop at the 18, but now you know to keep going and divide that by 6 employees to know how much is going to be spent on each. All right, so number 3, Keisha learned that she can order a fleece jacket for $42.99. Awesome. However, the company will only pay for half the cost of the jacket. Well, that stinks. If 4 employees order the fleece jacket, what is the total amount the company will have to pay for the jackets? Well, they're only going to pay half of the $42.99, so take half of that, and then multiply it by 4, because that's how many you're going to buy. And that'll be your answer for number 3. And that's it for exercise number 7.